this will be a whole new offering and probably tap into a market that Nike and other sports apparel companies really haven't before.
Do you know what the contract is?
I want to say it's $3 million a year for 8 to 10 years. It's almost $30 million, something like.
Nike had a harsh wake-up call and responded to Adidas with a bold move by signing Caitlin Clark to a new contract. The surprising part is that not only is Nike securing Clark with this deal, but they're also suing Adidas for trying to interfere with their agreement.
Leftists are idiots. Idiots. They're not about business. They're not about growing the WNBA. They're about diversity, equity, and inclusion. This is insanity, what they're doing to Caitlin Clark.
Legally, it's clear that two competing companies can't interfere with each other's athlete contracts. Now, Adidas is in a tough spot, claiming they only made Clark an offer that she didn't accept. But let's face it, they're going up against Nike, the biggest name in the industry.
I will say that Caitlin Clark has created more buzz around the basketball landscape and has actually transformed and revived a league that was the WNBA, and she is getting paid a measly $28 million for 8 years as opposed to Wemby's $100.
Watching this battle unfold is pretty satisfying. In the end, Nike was smart enough to keep their star athlete, and let's not forget how the internet had a field day roasting them for nearly losing her. It's been an entertaining situation all around.
Season, it was announced that Caitlin Clark signed a massive endorsement deal with Nike. This deal was for 8 years, $28 million with a signature sneaker included. Now, at the time, a lot of...
I almost feel a bit sorry for Adidas, almost. They were just trying to pick up what Nike overlooked, and they nearly succeeded. This wasn't just random gossip, it was a serious move, and it came with a lot of intensity. Adidas went all out for Caitlin Clark, almost like they were staging a sneaker coup. People were shocked because this wasn't just a casual deal, it was a bold takeover attempt. Adidas wasn't playing nice, they saw their chance and went for it while Nike was caught napping.
He struck absolute gold when they signed Caitlin Clark to an 8-year, $28 million endorsement deal. So why in the world? And with that, Nike has not done one thing to promote her. We have not seen any commercials. We have not seen any ads. We have not seen any Caitlin Clark merchandise. And we for sure as hell have not seen any Caitlin Clark signature.
But here's where it gets even juicier. Nike already had Caitlin Clark signed, but instead of treating her like the superstar she is, they messed things up. They promised her a signature shoe and a whole line set to launch in 2024, but, true to form, they fumbled the rollout.
Not get a signature shoe from Caitlin until 2026 or 2027. I didn't mean for this video to turn into a rant, but this is just another example about how people have fumbled the gift that is.
And it wasn't just a minor mix-up. They pushed the release to 2026, maybe even 2027. That's not just a delay, that's a major contract breach in big letters. How do you mess up something like that?
The commercials, the ads, the merch, like all of the things that she should have gotten during this rookie season. Nike hasn't produced one ad or commercial featuring Clark since she turned pro, and despite a signature shoe being part of Nike's agreement with Clark,
based on conversations with people in the know, it indeed has something to do with the WNBA MVP and Nike athlete Asia Wilson. But beyond Wilson, it's about the culture at the company that's more concerned with quelling noise rather than making it, as Nike once used to.
Apparently, Nike decided to prioritize Aya Wilson's shoe release instead of Caitlin Clark's. Why? Because Wilson is the MVP and doesn't have the same drama attached to her name as Clark. This kind of thinking shows Nike playing it safe with Wilson while completely overlooking Clark's huge fan base, which is ready to support her shoe launch. And here's the kicker, insiders say this decision wasn't based purely on merit or sales potential. Instead, Nike pushed Wilson's shoe to the front because, let's face it, she doesn't carry the same media-driven tensions as Clark. Let that sink in for a moment. Nike thought it was wise to delay Clark's shoe despite her massive support, all because of a narrative fueled by the media. Meanwhile, Adidas wasn't just sitting back while Nike stumbled. As soon as they noticed Nike dragging their feet, they swooped in with a huge offer for Clark. Bigger money, bigger perks, basically everything Nike should have done from the start. Adidas saw their golden opportunity and didn't waste any time making their move.
The best player in the WNBA? Yes. Is Caitlin Clark currently the face of the WNBA? Yes. Do I think if A'ja Wilson dropped a shoe and Caitlin Clark dropped a shoe today at the very same time, that Caitlin Clark would outsell A'ja's shoe by 100 times?
But here's where Adidas really flexed. They gave Clark creative control over her own marketing strategy. While Nike was still tangled in their corporate red tape, Adidas went all in, offering her the kind of freedom that athletes rarely get. This wasn't just about wearing shoes. Clark was handed the reins to design her own campaigns, shape her brand, and connect directly with her growing fan base. Nike didn't even see this coming.
The hype that Caitlin Clark had going into this season, we will not see that again. She came off of playing in a national championship game that had over 20 million people.
Then there's the shoe release timeline. Remember how Nike kept pushing Clark's signature shoe further and further into the future, first to 2025, then possibly 2026. Well, Adidas wasn't playing that game. They promised her a much faster release, ensuring her fans wouldn't have to wait ages to get her kicks. Adidas understood one simple fact: Clark's fans weren't going to sit around forever, they wanted her shoe ASAP. Meanwhile, Nike was in full-on panic mode. They realized they were facing a PR disaster if Clark accepted Adidas's offer. Why? Because in a head-to-head launch, Clark would outshine A'ja Wilson. Her fan base was on another level. Nike knew that if both shoes dropped at the same time, Clark's would sell out instantly, leaving Wilson's to gather dust. They couldn't let that happen. Suddenly, Nike was scrambling to save the situation. They went into full damage control, desperately trying to revive the original contract they had neglected. After months of sidelining Clark, they were now racing to bring her shoe launch back on track for a 2024 release, the same date they had originally promised her before dropping the ball. Now, they were all in on getting her shoe to market as quickly as possible because they knew losing her to Adidas would be a disaster.
Winning unanimous WNBA Rookie of the Year, they've got no plans for a Caitlin Clark shoe. Why not? Well, the official reason from Nike is an obvious lie. What are they hiding? Is sports losing popularity? No, Adidas has done pretty well over that time despite ending their partnership.
Let's be real for a second. Was it too little, too late for Nike? They had already fumbled the bag, and Clark's fans weren't happy with how she'd been treated. Frustration was palpable. Fans had watched as Nike sidelined Clark to promote Wilson, and with Adidas in the mix, Nike was starting to look like the villain. This wasn't just about sneakers anymore, it was about loyalty, respect, and how Nike handled their rising star. The whole Adidas buzz really intensified after a tweet from Billie Jean King, an ambassador for Adidas, praising Caitlin Clark's achievements. That's when things began to heat up, with insiders buzzing about Nike's desperate attempts to sweeten the deal. Rumors circulated that Nike was offering everything from bonuses to faster production timelines and a massive marketing blitz. They were throwing everything at the wall, hoping something would stick. Losing Clark would be a major blow, not just because she's an incredible player, but also due to what she represents off the court. With all the racial and social dynamics in play, losing her to Adidas would severely impact Nike's image. Experts pointed out that LeBron James had his own signature shoe in his rookie year, which showed Nike's agility and vision 2 decades ago. They clearly couldn't do the same for Caitlin Clark, and if that wasn't enough drama, rumors of a lawsuit began to surface. Nike wasn't just trying to salvage the deal, they were also preparing to take legal action against Adidas, accusing them of contract manipulation and violation of certain clauses in Clark's original Nike contract. Nike wasn't going to let Adidas steal their athlete without a fight. On top of everything else, discussions of a legal showdown between two of the biggest sports brands in the world were heating up. This wasn't just about shoes, it was a full-blown corporate war. Adidas had made their move, and Nike was scrambling to reclaim their position. The stakes were high, This could be a deal worth around $3 million a year for 8 to 10 years, totaling almost $30 million. Massive endorsement contracts aren't casual agreements, they're airtight. Athletes can't just switch brands at will, especially with exclusivity clauses in place. Adidas's potential partnership with Clark was a game-changer, a huge win for both her and women's basketball. But Nike had that exact exclusivity clause in Clark's contract, clearly stating that she couldn't endorse any rival brands while under contract. Rumors suggested that Adidas was trying to sweet-talk Clark into believing she deserved more than Nike was offering, even hinting at some extra perks to lure her away. The sports endorsement game is cutthroat, and Nike felt that Adidas crossed a line. If they proved contract tampering in court, it could shake up not just the sports industry but the entire endorsement. Get real, and Caitlin Clark is right in the middle of it.